Well, uh, can you hear me again? I am back. I am back again. Yeah, not sure what happened there. My internet decided it didn't like me anymore. I'm not sure what happened. I'm pretty sure that my computer just decided it didn't want to play nice. Not sure why. I may have had too many things going at the same time. So who knows? Uh, the universe just wanted to toss me a yes, yeah. The internet gods didn't like that I was reading Ray Bradbury. All right. So let's see if we can pick up where we left off, shall we? All right. Well, there it is. Survey says the internet gods can not stop me. Foolish internet gods. They know not who they meddle with. All right. So, well, it's not in that book. Well, I'm glad you're all still here. I appreciate you sticking around because, I mean, hell. All right. Oh, look. Almost where we left right off. I really need to turn some of this crap off. Don't need all this stuff running at the same time here. Yes, yeah, I don't need Spotify running. Oh, you all are just too kind to me. All right. We're going to ditch Discord. And we're going to close WhatsApp. And we're going to close all this other crap that I don't need open. All right, internet gods. You think you can stop me? Well, guess what? You can't. All right, so did Gramps finish talking? Did Gramps finish talking? I mean, I just want to make sure that Gramps finished talking. Okay. We'll take some liquid here. All right. Note to self: don't drink root beer after drinking a grape energy drink. It doesn't taste good. Yucky. Oh, good old Xfinity. At least as long as it's not Verizon, I guess we're okay. Something, something, something. Yes. All right. I am the one who knocks. All right. Well, I appreciate you, Jade. I really do. Okay. So let's pick up where we left off. I think with that little snafu, we might only get through one story after this one, but that's okay. We'll just see how it goes. So Gramps was just talking, and he finished, and now somebody else was going to talk. Juke Marmer from Willow Sump wiped sweat off his palms on the round of his knees and softly said, I remember when I was a run-nosed kid. We had a cat who was all the time making kittens. Lord almighty, she'd a litter any time she jumped round and skipped a fence. Juke spoke in a kind of holy softness, benevolent. "Well, we give the kittens away, but when this one particular litter busted out, everybody within walking distance had 1, 2 our cats by gift already. So Ma busied in the back porch with a big 2-gallon glass jar, filling it to the top with water. Ma said, 'Juke, you drown them kittens.' I remember I stood there. The kittens mewed, running round, blind, small, helpless, and funny, just beginning to get their eyes open. I looked at Ma. I said, 'Not me, Ma, you do it.' But Ma turned pale and said it had to be done, and I was the only one handy. She went off to stir gravy and fix chicken. I picked up one kitten. I held it. It was warm, made a mewing sound. I felt like running away, not ever coming back." Juke nodded his head now, eyes bright, young, seeing into the past, making it new, shaping it with words, smoothing it with his tongue. "I dropped the kitten into the water. The kitten closed his eyes, opened his mouth, trying for air. I remember how the little white fangs showed. The pink tongue came out, and bubbles with it, in a line to the top of the water. I know to this day the way that kitten floated after it was all over, drifting around, slow and not worrying, looking out at me, not condemning me for what I'd done, but not liking me neither. Hearts jumped quick. Eyes swiveled from Juke to the shelved jar, back down, up again apprehensively. A pause. Jadu, the black man from Heron Swamp, tossed his ivory eyeballs like a dusky juggler in his head. His dark knuckles nodded and flexed, grasshoppers alive. "You know what that is. You know. I tells you. That be the center of life, sure enough. Lord, believe me, it's so." Swaying in a tree-like rhythm, Jadu was blown by a swamp wind no one could see, hear, or feel save himself. His eyeballs went round again, as if cut free to wander. His voice needled a dark thread pattern, picking up each person by the lobes of their ears and sewing them into one unbreathing design. From that, lying back in the middy bamboo sump, all sort of thing crawl. It put out hand, it put out feet, it put out tongue and horn, and it grow. Little bitty amoeba, perhap. Then a frog with a bulged throat, fit to bust. Yeah, he cracked his knuckles. It slobber up on its gummy joints, and it am human. That am the center of creation. That am middy bamboo, mama, from which we all come 10,000 years ago. Believe it. 10,000 years ago, whispered Granny Carnation. I am old, looky it. I dunno worry no more. It no better, it hang like pork chop and frying fat. It got eye to see with, but it don't blink 'em. They don't look fretted, does they? No, man. It no better. It know that we done come from it, and we going back to it. What color eyes it got? Gray? No, green. What color hair? Brown? Black? Red? No, gray. Then Charlie would give his drawling opinion. Some nights he'd say the same thing, some nights not. It didn't matter. When you said the same thing night after night in the deep summer, it always sounded different. The crickets changed it. The frogs changed it. The thing in the jar changed it. Charlie said, "What if an old man went back into the swamp, or maybe a young kid, and wandered round for years and years, lost in all that dripping,
on the trails and gullies and them old wet ravines, in the night's skin a-turning pale and making cold and shriveling up. Being away from the sun, he'd keep withering away, up, and finally sink into a muck hole and lay in a kind of scum, like the maggot skeeters sleeping in the sump water. Why, for all we can tell, this might be someone we know, someone we passed words with once a time. For all we know. A hissing from among the womenfolk back in the shadow. One woman standing, eyes shining black, fumbling for words. Her name was Mrs. Tridden, and she muttered, "Lots of little kids run stark naked to the swamp over here. They runs around and never comes back. I almost got lost myself. I lost my little boy Foley that way. You don't suppose—" Breath was snatched through nostrils, constricted, tightened, mouths turned down at corners, bent by hard clenching muscle. Heads turned on celery-stalk necks, and eyes read her horror and hope. It was in Mrs. Tridden's body, wire-taut, holding to the wall back of her, with straight fingers stiff. "My baby," she whispered. She breathed it out. "My baby. My Foley. Foley, is that you? Foley? Foley, tell me, baby, is that you?" Everybody held their breath, turning to see the jar. The thing in the jar said nothing. It just stared, blind white, out upon the multitude, and deep in raw-boned bodies a secret fear juice ran like a spring thaw, and their resolute calmness and belief and easy humbleness was gnawed and eaten by that juice and melted away in a torrent. Someone screamed, "It moved!" No, it didn't move, just your eyes playing tricks." "Honest to God, it moved!" cried Juke. I saw it shift slow like a dead kitten." "Hush up now. It's been dead a long, long time, maybe since before you was born." "He made a sign," screamed Mrs. Tidden. "That's my Foley, my baby you got there. 3-year-old he was. My baby lost and gone in the swamp." The sobbing broke from her. "Now, Mrs. Tidden, there now, set yourself down, stop shaking. Ain't no more your child than mine. There. One of the womenfolk held her and faded out the sobbing into jerked breathing and a fluttering of her lips in butterfly quickness as the breath stroked over them afraid. When all was quiet again, Granny Carnation, with a withered pink flower on her shoulder-length hair, sucked the pipe in her trapped mouth and talked round it, shaking her head to make the hair dance in the light. "All this talking and shoving words. Like as not we'll ever find out, never know what it is. Like as not if we found out we wouldn't want to know. It's like magic tricks magicians do at shows. Once you find the fake, ain't no more funnin' than the innards of a jackbob. We come collectin' round here every 10 nights or so, talking social-like with something, always something to talk about. Stands to reason if we spied out what the damned thing is, there'd be nothing to chew about, so there."
"Well, damn it to hell," rumbled a bull voice. "I don't think it's nothing." Tom Carmody, standing as always in shadow out on the porch, just his eyes staring in, his lips laughing at you, dimly mocking. His laughter got inside Charlie like a hornet sting. Thetty had put him up to it. Thetty was trying to kill Charlie's new life, she was. "Nothing," repeated Carmody harshly. "And that jar but a bunch of old jellyfish from Sea Cove.
a rotten and stinking fit to whelp. You mightn't be jealous, Cousin Carmody? Asked Charlie slow. Haw! Snorted Carmody. I just come around to watch you dumb fools jaw about nothing. You noticed I never set foot inside or took part. I'm going home right now. Anybody want to come along with me? He got no offer of company. He laughed again as if this were a bigger joke. How so many people could be so far gone, and Thetty was raking her palms with her fingernails away back in a corner of the room. Charlie saw her mouth twitch and was cold and could not speak. Carmody, still laughing, rapped off the porch with his high-heeled boots, and the sound of crickets took him away. Granny Carnation gummed her pipe. Like I was saying before the storm, that thing on the shelf, why couldn't it be sort of all things? Lots of things, all kinds of life, death, I don't know. Mix rain and sun and muck and jelly, all that together, grass and snakes and children and mist and all the nights and days in the dead canebrake. Why, it's have to be one thing, maybe it's lots. And the talking ran soft for another hour, and Thetty slipped away into the night on the track of Tom Carmody, and Charlie began to sweat. They were up to something, those two. They were planning something. Charlie sweated warm all the rest of the evening. The meeting broke up late, and Charlie bedded down with mixed emotions. The meeting had gone off well, but what about Thetty and Tom? Very late, with a certain star coveys shuttled down the sky, marking the time as after midnight, Charlie heard the shushing of the tall grass parted by her penduluming hips. Her heels tacked soft across the porch, into the house, into the bedroom. She lay soundlessly in bed, cat eyes staring at him. He couldn't see them, but he could feel them staring. Charlie? He waited. Then he said, I'm awake. Then she waited. Charlie? What? Bet you don't know where I been. Bet you don't know where I been. It was a faint, derisive sing-song in the night. He waited. She waited again. She couldn't bear waiting long, though, and continued. I've been to the carnival over in Cape City. Tom Carmody drove me. We talked to the carny boss, Charlie. We did. We sure did. And she sort of giggled to herself secretly. Charlie was ice cold. He stirred upright on an elbow. She said, We found out what was in your jar, Charlie. Insinuatingly. Charlie flumped over, hands to ears. I don't want to hear. Oh, but you gotta hear, Charlie. It's a good joke. Oh, it's rare, Charlie, she hissed. Go away, he said. No, sir, Charlie. Why, no, Charlie, honey, not until I tell. Get, he said. Let me tell. We talked to that carny boss, and he liked to die laughing. He said he sold that jar and what was in it to some hick for $12, and it ain't worth more'n $2 at most. Laughter bloomed in the dark right out of her mouth, an awful kind of laughter. She finished it quick. It's just junk, Charlie. Rubber, papier-mâché, silk, cotton, boric acid, that's all. Got a metal frame inside. That's all it is, Charlie. That's all, she shrilled. No. He sat up swiftly, ripping sheets apart and big fingers roaring. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear, he bellowed over and over. She said, Wait till everyone hears how fake it is. Won't they laugh? Won't they flap their lungs? He caught her wrist. You ain't gonna tell them. Wouldn't want me known as a liar, would you, Charlie? He flung her off and away. Won't you leave me alone, you dirty, jealous mean of everything I'll do? I took shine off your nose when I brung the jar home. You didn't sleep right till you ruined things. She laughed. Then I won't tell anybody, she said. He stared at her. You spoiled my fun. That's all that counted. It don't matter if you tell the rest. I know, and I'll never have no more fun. You and that Tom Carmody. I wish I could stop him laughing. He's been laughing for years at me. Well, you just go tell the rest, the other people now. Might as well have your fun. He strode angrily, grabbed the jar so it sloshed, and would have flung it on the floor, but he stopped, trembling, and let it down softly on the spindly table. He leaned over it, sobbing. If he lost this, the world was gone, and he was losing Thetty, too. Every month that passed, she danced further away, sneering at him, funning him. For too many years, her hips had been the pendulum by which he reckoned the time of his living. But other men, Tom Carmody for one, were reckoning time from the same source. Thetty stood waiting for him to smash the jar. Instead, he petted and stroked and gradually quieted himself over it. He thought of the long good evenings in the past month, those rich evenings of friends and talk, moving about the room. That, at least, was good, if nothing else. He turned slowly to Thetty. She was lost forever to him. Thetty, you didn't go to the carnival. Yes, I did. You're lying, he said quietly. No, I'm not. This jar has to have something in it. Something besides the junk you say. Too many people believe there's something in it, Thetty. You can't change that. The carny boss, if you talked to him, he lied. Charlie took a deep breath and then said, Come here, Thetty. What do you want? She asked sullenly. Come over here. He took a step toward her. Come here. Keep away from me, Charlie. Just want to show you something, Thetty. His voice was soft, low, and insistent. Here, kitty. Here, kitty, kitty, kitty. Here, kitty. It was another night, about a week later. Gramps Medno and Granny Carnation came, followed by young Juke and Mrs. Tridden, and Jadu, the colored man. Followed by all the others, young and old, sweet and sour, creaking into chairs, each with his or her own thought, hope, fear, and wonder in mind, each not looking at the shrine, but saying hello softly to Charlie. They waited for the others to gather. From the shine of their eyes, one could see that each saw something different in the jar. Something of the life and the pale life after life, and the life in death and the death in life, with each with his story, his cue, his lines, familiar, old, but new. Charlie sat alone. Hello, Charlie. Somebody peered into the empty bedroom. Your wife gone off again to visit her folks? Yeah. She run for Tennessee. Be back in a couple weeks. She's the darndest one for running. You know Thaddy. Great one for jumping around, that woman. Soft voices, talking, getting settled. And then, quiet, quite suddenly, walking on the dark porch and shining his eyes in at the people. Tom Carmody. Tom Carmody standing outside the door, knees sagging and trembling, arms hanging and shaking at his side, staring into the room. Tom Carmody not daring to enter. Tom Carmody with his mouth open but not smiling. His lips wet and slack, not smiling. His face pale as chalk, as if it had been sick for a long time. Gramps looked up at the jar, cleared his throat, and said, "Why, I never noticed so definite before. It's got blue eyes." "It always had blue eyes," said Granny Carnation. "No," whined Gramps. "No, it didn't. They was brown last time we was here." He blinked upward. "And another thing, it's got brown hair. Didn't have brown hair before." Yes, it did," sighed Mrs. Tridden. "No, it didn't. Yes, it did." Tom Carmody, shivering in the summer night, staring in at the jar. Charlie glancing up at it, rolling a cigarette, casually, all peace and calm, very certain of his life and thoughts. Tom Carmody alone, seeing things about the jar he never saw before. Everybody seeing what they wanted to see, all thoughts running in a fall of quick rain. "My baby, my little baby," thought Mrs. Tridden. "Well, brain," thought Gramps. The colored man jigged his fingers. "Mitty bamboo, mama." A fisherman pursed his lips. "Jellyfish." "Kitten. Here, kitty, kitty." The thoughts drowned clawing in Juke's eyes. "Kitten." "Everything and anything," shrilled Granny's weazened thought. "The night, the swamp, death, the pale things, the wet things from the sea." Silence. And then Gramps whispered, I wonder if it's a he or a she or just plain old it." Charlie glanced up, satisfied, tamping his cigarette, shaping it to his mouth. Then he looked at Tom Carmody, who would never smile again in the door. "I reckon we'll never know." "Yeah, I reckon we won't." Charlie shook his head slowly and settled down with his guests, looking. It was just one of those things they keep in a jar in the tent of a sideshow on the outskirts of a little drowsy town. One of those pale things, drifting in alcohol plasma, forever dreaming and circling with its peeled dead eyes staring out at you and never seeing you. Well, I have a wild guess as to what is in the jar now. I wonder. Now that's definitely candidate for Twilight Zone episode. Yep. Alrighty. So, that's 10:48. I do think we have time for one more. Yeah, Tessa, I was just kind of thinking the same thing. There's a little bit of Creep Show or Tales from the Crypt, Tales from the Dark Side, that kind of thing. Yeah. Or it could be, God, you know what I have to watch? I don't know. I'm going to have to look that up because I think it could have been that. It could have been, I wonder if it was like a Alfred Hitchcock Presents, but it definitely would have fit into, Bradbury was one of the contributors of short stories to The Twilight Zone. So it certainly could have been, there. So.
Alrighty then. So. So we have a choice. We have 2 stories left, and I only have time for one. Do we want to read a story about a murderous baby? Or do we want to read a story about a Halloween party gone wrong? You choose. Do, 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 do. That's 1 vote for Halloween party gone wrong. That's 2 votes for Halloween party gone wrong. Nobody wants to hear about the murderous baby. 3 votes for Halloween party gone wrong. Oh, that's 4. Alrighty then. So, let's do this. So curiosity can be a powerful thing. Sometimes it reveals wonders. Sometimes it reveals truths we wish we hadn't seen. And sometimes all it takes is one strange object in a glass jar to bring out the darkest parts of human nature. Our final story takes place on Halloween night, a time when masks are worn, rules are relaxed, and people allow themselves to step just a little closer to the darkness. Our last story tonight is called The October Game. He put the gun back in the bureau drawer and shut the drawer. No, not that way. Louise wouldn't suffer. It was very important that this thing have, above all, duration. Duration through imagination. How to prolong the suffering? How, first of all, to bring it about? Well, the man standing near the bedroom mirror carefully fitted his cufflinks together. He paused long enough to hear the children run by swiftly on the street below, outside his warm 2-story house. Like so many gray mice, the children like so many leaves. By the sound of the children, you knew the calendar day. By their screams, you knew what evening it was. You knew it was very late in the year. October. The last day of October, with white bone masks and cut pumpkins and the smell of dropped candle wax. No, things hadn't been right for some time. October didn't help any. If anything, it made things worse. He adjusted his black bow tie. If this were spring, he nodded slowly, quietly, emotionlessly at his image in the mirror. Then there might be a chance. But tonight, all the world was burning down into ruin. There was no green spring, none of the freshness, none of the promise. There was a soft running in the hall. That's Marion, he told himself, my little one. All 8 quiet years of her. Never a word, just her luminous gray eyes and her wondering little mouth. His daughter had been in and out all evening, trying on various masks, asking him which was most terrifying, most horrible. They had both finally decided on the skeleton mask. It was just awful. It would scare the beans from people. Again, he caught the long look of thought and deliberation he gave himself in the mirror. He had never liked October. Ever since he first lay in the autumn leaves before his grandmother's house many years ago, he heard the wind and sway the empty trees. It has made him cry, without a reason, and a little of that sadness returned each year to him. It always went away with spring, but it was different tonight.
There was a feeling of autumn coming to last 1,000,000 years. There would be no spring. He had been crying quietly all evening. It did not show, not a vestige of it on his face. It was all hidden somewhere, and it wouldn't stop. The rich, syrupy smell of sweets filled the bustling house. Louise had laid out apples in new skins of toffee. There were vast bowls of punch, fresh mixed, stringed apples in each door, scooped, vented pumpkins peering triangularly from each cold window. There was a water tub in the center of the living room, waiting with a sack of apples nearby for dunking to begin. All that was needed was the catalyst, the imploring of children to start the apples bobbing, the stringed apples to penduluming in the crowded doors, the sweets to vanish, the halls to echo with fright or delight. It was all the same. Now the house was silent with preparation, and just a little more than that. Louise had managed to be in every other room save the room he was in today. It was her very fine way of intimating. "Oh, look, Mitch. See how busy I am. So busy that when you walk into a room, I'm in there, always something I need to do in another room. Just see how I dash about." For a while he had played a little game with her, a nasty, childish game. When she was in the kitchen, he came to the kitchen saying, "I need a glass of water." After a moment, he, standing drinking water, like a crystal witch over the caramel brew bubbling like a prehistoric mud pot on the stove, she said, "Oh, I must light the pumpkins," and she rushed to the living room to make the pumpkins smile with light. He came after, smiling. "I must get my pipe." "Oh, the cider," she had cried, running to the dining room. "I'll check the cider," he had said, but when he tried following, she ran to the bathroom and locked the door. He stood outside the bathroom door, laughing strangely and senselessly, his pipe gone cold in his mouth, and then, tired of the game but stubborn, he waited another 5 minutes. There was not a sound from the bath, and lest she enjoy in any way knowing that he waited outside, irritated, he suddenly jerked about and walked upstairs, whistling merrily. At the top of the stairs he had waited. Finally, he heard the bathroom door unlatch, and she had come out, and life below stairs had resumed. As if life in a jungle must resume once a terror has passed on away and the antelope returned to their spring. Now, as he finished his bow tie and put his dark coat where there was a mouse rustle in the hall. Marian appeared in the door, all skeletons in her disguise. "How do I look, Papa?" "Fine." From under the mask, blonde hair showed. From the skull sockets, small blue eyes smiled. He sighed. Marian and Louise, the two silent denouncers of his virility, his dark power. What alchemy had there been in Louise that took the dark of a dark man and bleached the dark brown eyes and black hair and washed and bleached the ingrown baby, all during the period before birth until the child was born? Marian, blonde, blue-eyed, ruddy-cheeked. Sometimes he suspected that Louise had conceived the child as an idea, completely asexual, an immaculate conception of contemptuous mind and cell. As a firm rebuke to him, she had produced a child in her own image, and to top it, she had somehow fixed the doctor so he shook his head and said, "Sorry, Mr. Wilder, your wife will never have another child. This is the last one." "And I wanted a boy," Mitch had said 8 years ago. He almost bent to take hold of Marian now in her skull mask. He felt an inexplicable rush of pity for her, because she had never had a father's love, only the crushing, holding love of a loveless mother. But most of all, he pitied himself, that somehow he had not made the most of a bad birth, enjoyed his daughter for herself, regardless of her not being dark and a son, and like himself, somewhere he had missed out. Other things being equal, he would have loved the child. But Louise hadn't wanted a child anyway in the first place. She had been frightened of the idea of birth. He had forced the child on her, and from that night all through the year until the agony of the birth itself, Louise had lived in another part of the house. She had expected to die with the forced child. It had been very easy for Louise to hate this husband who so wanted a son that he gave his only wife over to the mortuary. But Louise had lived, and in triumph. Her eyes, the day he came to the hospital, were cold. "I'm alive," they said, "and I have a blonde daughter. Just look." And when he had put out a hand to touch, the mother had turned away to conspire with her new pink daughter child, away from that dark, forcing murderer. It had all been so beautifully ironic. His selfishness deserved it. But now it was October again. There had been other Octobers, and when he thought of the long winter, he had been filled with horror year after year to think of the endless months mortared into the house by an insane fall of snow. Trapped with a woman and a child, neither of whom loved him for months on end. During the 8 years there had been respites. In spring and summer you go out, walked, picnicked. These were desperate solutions to the desperate problem of a hated man. But in winter, the hikes and picnics and escapes fell away with leaves. Life, like a tree, stood empty, the fruit picked, the sap run to earth. Yes, you invited people in, but people were hard to get in winter with blizzards and all. Once he had been clever enough to save for a Florida trip. They had gone south. He had walked in the open. But now, the 8th winter coming, he knew things were finally at an end. He simply could not wear this one through. There was an odd acid walled off in him that slowly had eaten through tissue and bone over the years. And now, tonight, it would reach the wild explosive in him, and all would be over. There was a mad ringing of the bell below. In the hall Louise went to see. Marian, without a word, ran down to greet the first arrivals. There were shouts and hilarity. He walked to the top of the stairs. Louise was below, taking cloaks. She was tall and slender and blonde to the point of whiteness, laughing down upon the new children. He hesitated. What was all this? The years, the boredom of living. Where had it gone wrong? Certainly not with the birth of the child alone, but it had been a symbol of all their tensions he imagined. His jealousies and his business failures and all the rotten rest of it.